As we go through today, our topic is going to be how to optimize your energy and your focus by using some of the systems that I have in place through my business, Huddle Health Coaching, that I use with all of my one-on-one clients. And we'll talk about how we can do this without disrupting your daily routine. So it's not going to be anything wild and out of the ordinary. So as you guys are here, I appreciate you being here. And some of the things that we'll be able to get out of today and why the heck you should stick around is we'll be looking at ways that we can avoid the 2 p.m. slump that a lot of us feel in the afternoon. We'll be diving into how we can better remain productive and focused throughout the afternoon, and then figuring out how you can enjoy the time with whether it's friends or family after work. I hear all the time people get done with their day, and I've felt the same way, and just totally exhausted, and I don't have the energy to do anything else. We miss out on a lot of time with friends and family that way. So we'll definitely be seeing how that ties in as well. A lot of this now will be tied to some nutrition pieces. And when we talk about nutrition, we'll be talking about just different eating habits. So it should be things that are going to energize your day. It's not cumbersome. It's meant to help you have more energy that you can use at work and gain some more quality time back with your friends, your family, and the people that you love. So what we're going to be talking about and learning today is just going to show you how to be more energized sustainably all day long without having to starve yourself. We're not going to be talking about counting calories or any supplements or depriving yourself in any way, shape, or form. So for anybody that's joining me here, and then I'll also share it in our Slack group, I do have a resource that I use with all of my individual one-on-one clients, and it's a high protein fuel guide. We'll be diving a lot into the importance of protein. So this is going to be a great way to bridge that gap on how some of these might fit into your day-to-day as well. So again, that'll be all yours. Stick around to the end. And you guys are obviously here joining me, so I appreciate that. Stick around. If you are someone who likes to learn, if you've got a growth mindset, which you're taking the time out of your day, so I'm guessing you guys are, if you value the self-improvement, and if you're looking for more energy and more productivity, and if you're okay and open to taking some advice from an expert. As we dive into this, so many people that I talk to think that everyone feels tired, lethargic, and less productive in the afternoon. And the fact is, some people do, but it doesn't have to be that way. And we'll really dive into the things that you consume, whether it's food or drinks in the morning, how that has an impact on how you feel all day long. So if you're hoping that I've got some magic pill or I've got some quick fix for you, that's not about today. I don't have any of those magic pieces for you guys. So really today is going to be more about how we can see results. And if you're unwilling to look at a new way, or if you're going to be overanalyzing different things and don't plan on taking action, that's just not going to be leading to the results. So now that we've got that out of the way, we're going to really start just diving right in. Today, over the next minutes, again, 20 minutes, we'll be looking at different ways how you can discover how you can feel energized all day long without having to do the traditional caffeine or supplements or any of the weird food diets out there that promise higher energy. We can find out where we can get that energy from to be able to be more productive throughout the day and be able to avoid those 2 p.m. crashes, still sleep really, really well at night. And I think really important piece is how we can win back quality time with friends and family without having to give up the foods or the activities that everybody already enjoys doing. And the last piece of this is if you're feeling good and you're feeling energized, that helps boost your confidence, and people around you notice that. So that really ties into your personal and career goals as well. And with this, the things that we'll be talking about improving energy also are things that are tied to improving metabolism. Now, if that happens to be a goal of yours, that is a really nice side piece to note as well as we talk today. And as I mentioned, we're going to be increasing the energy and metabolism and focus in the upcoming weeks. So if you can follow along with some of the things that we're talking about today and implement those into your routine in the day, there's no reason that you shouldn't be able to start seeing those results right away. So as a follow-up, you'll be getting a energy log, which is just a simple way to rate how energized, or on the opposite end, how tired you might be feeling in the afternoon. Because in a few short weeks, by making some of those small tweaks, you should be able to see a noticeable change. And this is a really good way to track it. You'll be able to wake up each day feeling a little bit more energized. And you don't have to do this by giving up foods or counting calories, spending any money on supplements and eating some foods that are less than desirable. Now, This piece is important, and over the next couple of weeks, the why piece is something I talk about a lot. And this is going to be a question for you guys, and I would challenge you to actually write down or think about why it's important to you to be more focused and why it's important to you to have more energy. And the more specific, the better. A lot of the things that I hear and that we talk about with whether it's clients of mine or other people is that it's going to help you get more done in the afternoon. Will it give you a leg up at work because of your productivity? Is it going to provide you with an additional sense of accomplishment at the end of each day because you were able to get more done than you used to? And again, that big piece is, will it help you win back some valuable experiences because you'll have the energy to spend the quality time with friends and family after the workday is over? Now, as I talk with a lot of people over the years, a lot of things come up and usually share some very similar experiences. So let me know if this sounds like you or if this has been something that you've tried in the past. Most people, they'll get up in the morning and find themselves either skipping breakfast or grabbing anything that's quick, easy, and convenient. Do you slam a bunch of coffee in the morning or in the afternoon just to get you by, whether it's coffee or even energy drinks? Especially now with working at home, aimlessly snacking all day has been something big that has been coming up with a lot of folks. And do you even feel tired, groggy, or get brain fog as that day goes on? A lot of that can be tied back to the types of foods that we eat earlier in the day. After lunch, do you ever get a feeling of tiredness or extra bloating, lethargic, or do you even skip meals altogether? A lot of this leads to the sense of feeling like we let ourselves down or we let other people in our lives down because we weren't able to accomplish everything we had hoped in that day. And unfortunately, that leads to some negative self-talk. So do you ever find yourself beating yourself up at the end of the day because you weren't able to get the things done that you wanted? Now, all of this is totally normal. And especially in this scenario that we're living in 2020, where so much has been changing and we have different demands on us than we're used to. So with that combined with the information that's out, whether it's online or social media, is there so much information that's contradicting each other that it's really hard to figure out what is even healthy and what's going to be helping me in the long run. And it's no surprise why people have been getting used to not feeling their best and feeling tired and less focused. But the good news of all this today and why we're here is because we can change that by making some different tweaks in our day. And looking at some of those things, those really aren't the problem. And what we're here to learn about today is how we can differentiate between the symptoms and then really dive into the true issues so that we can solve those issues to see the results we want. The truth of the fact is that most people just don't have a game plan or haven't found the right game plan to fit for your current lifestyle. And we're all going to be different. All of us on this call will have a different plan and organize that in a little bit different of a way. Once you've found that plan, and this we'll dive into today, a lot of things are going to change and it's not going to take that much. You're able to have more focus and more energy. So how that ties into work is looking at those tough and stressful projects. You'll have the energy and the focus to be able to really put your best foot forward for those. The drive and the motivation and the energy to become a better leader, again, tying into your personal and professional life. And the stress that we all deal with. It's no secret that for some of us, this has been a stressful year. The way that we handle ourselves during the day can make this a little bit easier as well. And most importantly, for some of us, just to be having the opportunity to have the energy to play basketball or go sledding or do whatever activities you enjoy with your family and having the energy rather to be able to do that without feeling totally exhausted. And last but not least, just being a good role model for those around you. Like I said, if you're looking good, you're feeling good, you're energized, people notice. And whether it's your spouse, your kids, your coworkers, or a family member, people notice that. So things that I've noticed talking with people over the years, and I'd like you to reflect back on things that maybe you have tried as well. We're all trying to get a leg up, and people try all kinds of things to do that. So we're looking at things like counting calories, avoiding foods that you enjoy, trying different miserable fad diets that you don't enjoy doing, or maybe even skipping social events, not because of COVID related, but because you know that the food is going to be something that you'll be stressing about. And trying different meal replacement shakes that maybe leave you feeling unsatisfied and for sure probably leave you hungry even an hour or so after. And the worst part of all of this is maybe you can recognize and see if there's been a time in your life that you felt like this is you think you feel all right, but you don't even know what it feels like to feel better. So reframing that is I hear a saying all the time is you don't know how crappy you feel until you don't feel crappy anymore. So if you think you're feeling okay and you think you have the energy, until you can really feel what it feels like to be energized, you don't realize what that difference is. And that's a big piece. What we're doing today is not rocket science. I mentioned in the beginning, just making some small tweaks that really make some big improvements. And it's just about uncovering those things that fit into your everyday. Each one of us on this call is going to be a little bit different. And that's where we have some fun and dive in to figure out what will work for you. Now, really kicking in, right? We want to figure out how do we get more energy and how do we feel better throughout the day. If you're like some of the people that I've worked with in the past, you've probably tried some of those crazy fad diets that gave you a promise of whether it was weight loss or more energy magically overnight, and you've realized that they didn't work. And honestly, that just becomes really frustrating and defeated. So that's why we're going to look at a different way today. The reason why you may have felt defeated in the past, or maybe have tried a diet or tried an eating plan, whether it's for energy or weight loss, that didn't work, is simply because of homeostasis. We're probably familiar with this, but as humans, we don't want to change. Our brain is going to fight against us and will always take the path of least resistance. So what happens for most of us that try something is we're trying to fight against thousands of years of whether it be evolution, or your brain is fighting back against the new things you're trying. And the fact is, you just can't beat evolution. And that's where that cycle becomes really frustrating, because you're trying things that aren't giving you the results that you're hoping for. The good news with this is the homeostasis, although in some cases works against us, we can actually get that to work for you. And we'll be doing this today by looking backwards at what most people do. So we're not trying to build a diet or a workout plan or a routine we're not trying to build your lifestyle around that diet workout plan. What we're trying to do is build those healthy habits into your current day. So that way we're not making it difficult, and it should be really easy to help boost the energy, because they're just small changes that you're fitting into your day, not making an entire overhaul of your routine. And this is what will lead to the sustainability piece. We don't want your body to fight against it. We don't want to fight against evolution. And instead, we want to build that plan to get you more energy and more focused into your daily routine. So if you're trying things that you're struggling with, if you're dreading meals, if you're trying to fight off calories, or even trying to force yourself into foods that you don't eat, you're probably not doing something that's going to be sustainable long term. And again, that's why we really just talk about the sustainability piece of everything we do. So we're diving in now here is going to be real life examples and putting together an action plan for each and every one of you. So as you're thinking about this, think about a couple of these scenarios and how they could potentially fit into your day. Now, the key is finding foods that are going to fuel you for long-lasting energy and focus all day. Now, what most people do is we need to grab a quick fix. We're hungry, we're in a hurry, so we grab whatever's in the pantry or anything that's in sight. And generally, a lot of these convenient snacks or convenient meals are either highly processed and or filled with sugars, highly filled with carbohydrates, and generally relatively low in protein. So this is important because foods that are highly processed and high in sugars is no surprise. We know it gives us that really quick energy, but then that energy drops on off, which is always going to leave us in that vicious circle of needing more sugar, needing more energy, and then dropping off, needing more and dropping off. So that's what a lot of our convenient snacks are filled with. Now, as we look at this, protein is a thing that we'll be focusing on, because protein provides longer lasting energy, and it's going to leave you feeling more satisfied. So you're not going to be as hungry because you've got a good fuel base filled into your body. So eating higher protein meals and snacks is going to be a really good first step into boosting energy and metabolism. Now, this is where it gets a little bit individualized. So make sure you're jotting down any questions that you may have, and I'd be happy to answer those, because this looks a little bit different for everybody. But a great first starting spot is to add protein into your day to increase your energy as the day goes on. Now, I've got a real life example here of a client of mine, and she's seeing really good results now, but she really struggled finding a rhythm to get to those results. So I hope that this example will show you a positive light. But then we can also look at some of the hiccups that she's had and some of the struggles to see if maybe you're having one of those same struggles, or if we can overcome those as we look at this. So Catherine is a real life example. She's a real person. She actually even lives in Eau Claire. And she's a busy professional. She came to me because she was looking for more energy. She wanted to be more productive. And she has a career that she works with children with autism. So she's actually trying to increase her patience with the kids that she works with. So needless to say, she needed energy and she needed to be convenient. So her old way is she was grabbing anything out of the pantry or at a convenience store. And again, generally those snacks were things that were higher in sugars and carbohydrates, and they never gave her long lasting energy. And she always felt like she was hungry. What we ended up finding out, and again, this is how we saw the success, was we replaced some of those mindless grabbing of foods with a better thought through plan of how we could increase her protein earlier in the day, which then left her more energized for hours to come, all the way into the afternoon. The small changes that she made only took about 2 weeks or so, and she was starting to notice that she had more energy. She was feeling more focused, especially in the afternoon. And the big thing for her is she felt she was more patient with the kids that she worked with, which is, you can see, a huge piece. And you can see here she increased her metabolism and she saw some physical results as well, which came down the road. But very early on, she was seeing the success from the energy. So looking at this as a whole, high protein is good for energy. So if we can bump that protein up, energy will come at us throughout the day. Now, I mentioned that Catherine saw some good results. She went through a couple different stages that did not work, that were really frustrating before her and I started working together. And I'm going to share those with you too, again, to see if maybe you're falling into that same category, or we can avoid that and get to success and get to results a little bit faster. The formula that I use with all of my clients, regardless of their goals, whether it's energy, weight loss, or just looking better, the goal truly doesn't matter. You'll be able to see how this ties into business, into your day as well. But the formula is the P+O+E formula. And it's something that I talk about a lot. It is plan, organize, and execute. Now, if we do all three of those things in the right order, that's where we get to see the results. If we don't have all of those three things in check, the results are really hard to come by, and at least they're going to be really hard to keep. So let's look at this P+O+E formula, how that fit into Catherine's day. And what I would like you to do while you're watching this is thinking, okay, how can I take my plan and then organize it in a way that I can execute and see those results? For many of us, the plan will be very similar as we look at increasing the protein is a great spot for a majority of people to start in. So here, let's look at Catherine on a thing that she tried, but it didn't work, right? So her plan was to increase her energy by eating protein in the morning. Now, her actual plan was on track. It's very similar to what her and I discussed as we started working together. So good job on the plan, Catherine. Where she was missing the boat was in the organizing piece. So if we fail to organize, we're not usually able to answer the when, where, why, what, and how questions. So what we needed to look at deeper with Catherine, and what I'd like you to think about when looking at implementing higher protein pieces into your day, is when will you be eating more protein? So specifically, is it at a snack? Is it at breakfast? Is it at lunch? Where will you be getting that food? So we're not just going off the cuff, hoping that we have some protein in the house, or hoping that we're going to stop at the store for some protein. Where is that actual food going to be coming from? And why are you going to be eating that food? I really want you guys to understand the reasoning behind some of this, because that's what helps changes stay long-term. Big piece of it is what is she going to eat and what are you going to eat that fits into things that you enjoy. Just because I like Greek yogurt does not mean that you like Greek yogurt. So we need to find those protein sources that you enjoy. And then most importantly, how is she going to know what to eat? And for you guys, this is where I'll be able to provide a resource with that high protein guide that'll give you a lot of good resources to try to hopefully find some foods that fit into your day, again, that you enjoy. Now, again, in this example, Catherine had the right idea with the plan, but she did not organize it well. So when it came to executing, it was really, really hard because she didn't have the food ready. She didn't know what she was going to eat. She didn't know why she was going to eat it. So if you remember back to homeostasis, we don't actually want to change. So she just went back to revert to what her body knew best, and that was her old habits. So needless to say, even though she had the right plan, she didn't organize it well, and she didn't see the results that she was looking for. Now, this was the first thing that she tried. The second piece is she switched up her plan a little bit, but did a good job organizing, and we'll see this example right here. Now, since she didn't think that the protein plan was the right plan for her, she decided, I'm going to increase my energy and my metabolism by trying to get rid of carbohydrates altogether and restricting calories. Now, this is actually very common that I see with a lot of people that I work with. So her plan, she had it. And this scenario, she organized it really well. So she went and she researched all the low carb diets. She went grocery shopping for the foods that she needed. She meal prepped some low carb lunches and she put those lunches in her backpack and she made sure she had them at all times. And she even planned out when she was going to be eating. So from an organization standpoint, she did a great job. She was all set for the day and she was able to answer those who, what, when, where, and why questions. When it came to the executing piece of it, she also did a really good job because she set herself up for success by organizing really well. Now, she should be seeing results, right? She had a plan, she organized fantastically, and she executed. The problem was, at the end of every day, she was starving. She was absolutely starving. She was trying to fight off urges to grab energy drinks, sodas, anything sugary. She was tired in the afternoon, and she had shared with me she was like exhausted by the time that she got home from work. Now, from the outside looking in, she did all of the right things, but what we found out is the plan wasn't the right plan for her. So this becomes important when you are developing the plan for you. Is we need to make sure that it's the right plan, and I'm more than happy to help with that. Again, through that Slack group, we bounce ideas off of each other to make sure that the things that you're planning and organizing and executing will actually get you to results, because there's nothing more frustrating than doing all of this work but not seeing the results. Tying this all together here, guys, is that POE, the planning, the organizing, and the executing, ends up leading to the results. So for a large majority of people, my suggestion is to start with protein earlier in your day because you'll feel more satisfied and energized. And this is going to help avoid just grabbing some of those aimless snacks that aren't as healthy and usually are not going to be giving you the energy that you're craving. Now, when you are organizing this, things that you need to do, you need to decide what the right high protein snack is for you. Now, in your case, I'm going to be providing the high protein snack guide. So it'll give you some ideas, but there's tons of options for protein out there outside of what you might think of, okay, a protein shake or a chicken breast. There's a lot of different things that we can look at. Looking at where you're going to be getting those foods, stocking the pantries, making sure that you surround yourself with all of that food. And once you get to that point, the execution of it all is almost foolproof because you have everything in line. So in Catherine's case, she decided ahead of time what she was going to eat, when she was going to be eating it, and she bought the food. She had everything set. So she was able to see those results really quickly. Her energy and focus, and even important for her, her patience really went up. She wasn't dealing with all of that tiredness, bloating, lethargic feeling in the afternoon anymore. So looking at Catherine's story and trying to make those parallels for where you guys can be making some changes, we look at this whole story in today, and we talk about how we can improve focus, energy, and metabolism. So you saw how we can improve the productivity, how we can have that long-lasting energy, and how we can execute. This is the big piece and kind of the wrap up of it all here today. Is it's about finding what works for you. I'm not the same as you. You're not the same as the person sitting next to you. And we can simplify all of this down into really two things. Looking to eat more protein-rich food throughout the day, particularly starting in the morning. And then using the POE, plan, organize, and execute formula to make sure that you're setting yourself up for the results that you desire. And we can do that really easily because we've set ourselves up and our surroundings to do so. Again, this looks a little bit different for everybody, and there truly is going to be no one size fits all. But looking at what you choose to do, it's got to be sustainable. It has to be something that you can do long term. And look into your morning routine and see where we can make some of those small tweaks that will last a lifetime. So from here, guys, we've got two choices. You joined me. You could stick with your current routine. You could still feel tired in the afternoon and just tell yourself that it's totally normal. Or you can take action. You can start looking for ways to add that protein in and use the things that we talked about today to see what a large impact that will have on you as the days go on, as the weeks go on, and as the months go on. Now, as we wrap this up, I'm going to be sharing those ideas with the high protein guide, and you'll be receiving that through Slack. If you have any questions in particular, please reach out to me. I have my contact information through Slack in the Jamf Wellness Group info right in here. And I'm going to be happy to dive into anything that you would like to dive into. Next week, getting on these learning lessons every Thursday at noon, I'll be talking about how we can avoid cravings, especially those cravings that happen later in the evening that are very prevalent for a lot of us. And we'll be talking about how we can get those at the source instead of just trying to fight those cravings day after day after day. Uh, as I mentioned, very appreciative of you guys hanging out with me today. I hope you got some good takeaways. Follow up with me on any individual questions you have, and be on the lookout tomorrow for a recap of everything that we talked about today.